Nobody feels rich at $43,000 in net worth, or 90, or 200. That's the trick of the whole thing. The feeling doesn't arrive when the money does. It lags by years, sometimes a decade, and in the gap between having it and feeling it, most people genuinely cannot tell whether they're winning. So forget the feeling. Watch the behavior. Because getting rich leaves fingerprints all over an ordinary life long before it shows up anywhere shiny. And the people leaving them almost never notice. Here are 7, and by the end, you'll know exactly how many of them are yours. Sign 1. Your money has somewhere to go before you see it. It's the 2nd of the month, 6 a.m., and while you're asleep, $400 leaves your checking account and lands in an investment account, and no part of you is consulted. You set this up once, some forgotten Tuesday, and it has fired every month since like a pilot light. That's the entire sign. Money with standing orders. The average person's paycheck arrives like a crowd into a stadium with no ushers. It finds seats wherever, and at the end of the month, whatever's left over, usually nothing, gets called savings. Yours arrives to assigned seating. Investments first, bills second, living money last. And here's the fingerprint part. You don't feel disciplined doing it because you're not doing anything. You removed yourself from the decision years ago. The single biggest predictor of quiet wealth isn't income, and it isn't willpower. It's whether the saving happens with or without a monthly decision. Willpower loses eventually. Standing orders don't get tired. Sign 2. Your reaction to a broken thing has changed shape. The water heater dies on a Sunday in January. Cold shower, cursing, the whole ritual. But watch what happens in your chest, because that's where this sign lives. There's annoyance. There's the hassle math of getting it replaced by Wednesday. What there isn't anymore is the drop. The cold elevator drop. The how am I going to cover this drop? The one that used to arrive before the repairman did. $1,400 leaves savings. The savings closes back over it like water, and by Thursday, it's a story you tell at work instead of a crisis you're still living. Broke isn't a number. Broke is when every broken object breaks you a little. Somewhere along the way, without a ceremony, your problems became logistics. Rich people don't have fewer water heaters die. They just get to experience it as plumbing instead of terror. And there's a second layer to this sign, the layer that involves other people. Your sister calls on a Wednesday night, and you can hear it in her hello. The flat, rehearsed hello of someone about to ask for something that took 2 days to dial. Her car needs $1,100 of work she doesn't have. And notice what your first response is. Not the flinch. Not the mental inventory of your own bills, running like a cash register behind your sympathetic noises. Just, I can help. Don't worry about it tonight. 6 words, instantly, and then the actual conversation. The one about her, not the money, gets to happen. Years ago, a call like that would have been 2 emergencies, hers and then yours. Now, it's 0 emergencies. The 1,100 leaves Thursday morning and your month doesn't move. Nobody at your job knows you can do that. It doesn't show up on any car you drive. But being the person your family can call without wrecking, that's a net worth line item they don't print on statements, and it might be the first purchase real money ever makes. Sign 3. You've stopped rooting against other people's money. This one's uncomfortable, so let's be adults about it. Your college roommate posts the new truck. A guy from high school is suddenly visibly doing well, the Scottsdale trips, the watch. And you notice, scrolling, that nothing happens in you. No flinch, no silent audit of his choices, no little courtroom where you prosecute how he probably afforded it. Just, good for Dave, and a thumb moving on. Envy runs on scarcity. It needs the belief that money is a pie and his slice shrank yours. The moment your own machine is running, the standing orders, the growing account, the plan with your name on it, other people's money stops being evidence against you. You know where yours is going, so you no longer need his to be fake. Show me a man who can watch his friends win without a single dark thought, and I'll show you a man whose own scoreboard is finally moving. Sign 4. You know your number. Not your salary, Your number. Ask most Americans their net worth and watch the face. It's the face of a man asked to name his blood type. Pretty sure. Wouldn't swear to it. Salary, everyone knows. Salary is the public number, the interview number. But you know the other one. Assets minus debts, the real score. And you could land within a few thousand of it right now, off the top of your head, because you check it, not obsessively, just quarterly, the way you'd glance at a gas gauge. You remember the first time you ran it, because everyone who tracks it remembers the first time. A legal pad, a kitchen table, every account and every debt in 2 columns, and the bottom line came out at negative $8,200. Negative. You were 29 years old, employed, reasonably responsible by every visible measure, and you were worth less than nothing. Less than a newborn, you remember thinking, since a newborn at least owes nobody. You sat with that number for a long, bad evening, and then something useful happened. The number stopped being an insult and became a location. A "you are here" pin on a map. You couldn't argue with it, so you started moving it. And the next quarter it was negative 6.9, and the one after that, negative 4.2, and watching a terrible number improve turned out to be more motivating than any good number you've seen since. Most people never run the math precisely because they suspect what it'll say. But the number doesn't hurt you. The number is the only thing in the whole system that never once lied to you. Here's why this boring habit is a sign and not a quirk. You can't steer toward a thing you refuse to look at. The people who track it aren't tracking it because they're rich. It's the other way around, and it always was. The looking comes first. The number follows the attention, like a dog. Sign 5. Your lifestyle lost the ability to keep up with your income. 3 raises ago, the pattern broke, and you didn't even hold a meeting about it. The raise landed. $6,000 a year, call it. And where the old ritual would have begun, the car upgrade, the apartment upgrade, the general upward reshuffling of everything. Instead, the standing order from sign 1 just got bigger, and your actual Tuesday stayed identical. Same grocery store, same car, 1 year older, 1 year more paid for. You still spend. This isn't a monk story. The vacation was real. The good boots were real. But spending has become a choice you make sometimes instead of a reflex that makes you every time. Economists have a dry name for the reflex: lifestyle inflation, the invisible tax that keeps 6-figure households living paycheck to paycheck, and roughly a third of them do, which stops being shocking once you realize the raise and the lifestyle usually arrive in the same car. Yours stopped carpooling years ago. The raises get off at a different stop now. That gap, raise minus lifestyle, is the whole engine, and yours widens every single year. There's a specific test for this sign, and it happens in a parking lot, your lease or buy moment. Everyone gets one. The afternoon a salesman slides a payment across a desk that would technically fit in your budget, for a vehicle that would absolutely announce your income bracket to every red light in town. Yours came 3 years ago, a certified SUV, $580 a month, and the salesman was good, and the leather was cold and perfect, and you sat in it and felt the pull, really felt it. You're not made of stone. And then you did the thing that marks the difference. You translated the payment out loud. $580 a month is $7,000 a year, is over $200,000 of invested growth over 2 decades, versus a machine worth $11,000 at the end of it. You thanked him. You drove home in the paid-off car. He thought you couldn't afford it. That's the fingerprint. The whole street thinking you can't afford things you've simply outmathed. Sign 6. You can see money that doesn't exist yet. The couch is $3,200, and standing there in the showroom, you see 2 couches, the one in front of you and the ghost one. What $3,200 becomes in 15 years if it goes into the account instead. Call it $11,000, $12,000 at ordinary market math. You might still buy the couch. That's not the sign. Rich isn't never buying couches. The sign is that the second number showed up at all, uninvited, automatic, the same way a chess player can't look at a board and not see 3 moves out. Most people see prices in a permanent present tense, what it costs today versus what's in checking today. You've started seeing prices in the future tense, and once that switch flips, it never fully unflips. Every dollar walks in wearing two faces, what it buys now and what it becomes later, and you can't unsee the second face. It's the closest thing to time travel the middle class is offered, and it costs nothing, and almost nobody boards. Sign 7. Silence stopped scaring you. Here's a strange fact about money in America. It's loudest when there isn't any. Broke is loud. Overdraft pings, collection calls, the argument in the kitchen with the door closed, the constant narration in your own skull doing rent minus paycheck at red lights. And building wealth, it turns out, is mostly the process of turning the volume down, notch by notch, year by year, until one day, this day maybe, you notice the sound is gone. Nothing is urgent. Nothing is circling. Your phone buzzes and it's never the bank. You lie down at night and the ceiling has nothing to discuss with you. And because the silence arrived one notch at a time, you never got a moment of arrival. No finish line tape, no feeling of rich, just a Tuesday, unusually quiet, at the end of a decade of small, correct decisions. If you want to know exactly when your volume dropped, there's a marker most people can locate: the last time you did doorway math. Doorway math is standing in the pharmacy doorway deciding whether the prescription can wait until Friday. It's the pause at the gas pump, tank at half, doing arithmetic about Tuesday. It's checking your balance before agreeing to a birthday dinner, then ordering carefully off the right side of the menu while performing enthusiasm about the appetizers. Every broke person in America knows doorway math fluently, and none of them discuss it, and it burns more mental horsepower than most full-time jobs. Now try to remember your last doorway. For some of you, it was this morning, and that's not shameful. It's a starting line. But if you had to actually think about it just now, if the last doorway is 2 years back, 3, blurry, then hear what that blur is telling you. An entire second job, the exhausting invisible one, ended at some point, and nobody sent you a last paycheck to mark the date. The math just quietly stopped needing to be done. That's not a small thing. Ask anyone still doing it. There's one more version of the silence, and it happens at work. A meeting last spring. New leadership. New org chart on the screen. The room doing the thing rooms do when boxes get redrawn. Everyone quietly finding their own name, calculating. And a guy you like, a guy with a boat payment and a fifth wheel and a very specific bracket of lifestyle, leans over and whispers, "If they cut my roll, I'm finished." And you realize, sitting there, that you have no equivalent sentence. Not because your job is safer, it isn't, but because somewhere along the line, the job stopped being a hostage situation. You'd prefer to keep it. You'd survive losing it for a long time without changing how you eat. And that difference, invisible, unprovable, sitting silently between two men in identical chairs, is the entire distance between where you started and where you are. He whispered his sentence because it was true. You had nothing to whisper. That's the sign. That silence is the actual product. It was always the product. The number was just the receipt. So, count yours. Be honest, nobody's watching. The standing orders, the water heater that stayed plumbing, the friend's truck that cost you nothing to look at, the number you actually know, the raises your lifestyle never met, the ghost couch, the quiet ceiling. If you counted 5 or more, here's the strange news, and take a second with it. You are currently getting rich in the only way it reliably happens, invisibly, boringly, and well before the feeling shows up to confirm it. The feeling is running years behind you. It always does. Somewhere down the road it'll finally catch up, probably on some completely unremarkable afternoon, and inform you of something that, you'll realize right then, has been true for a very long time. And if you counted 2, or 1, or none, that's not a verdict, because here's the part that separates this list from a horoscope. Every single sign on it is installable. Not one requires talent, a raise, or luck. The standing order takes 11 minutes on your phone. The net worth number takes one honest evening and a notes app. The rest grow out of those two the way the tree grows out of the seed, slowly, silently, and then, one day, suddenly. 7 signs, none of them visible from the street, which was always the point. The street was never where it happened.